thank you, of which 885447 comes out of the general fund and 1234714 will come out of water and sewer. Any questions or comments? Can I have a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Can I have a roll call?
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bing?
Aye.
Trustee AG? Trustee Wolford?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
Okay, motion passes, thank you. Any public comments?
Just to let the board know that sign over this way has been knocked over.
What sign?
The village sign?
It's the one that's coming
Oh,
into
the
town.
one coming up
I didn't know
on-
if anyone
okay.
knew about that.
All right, well, we'll get it repaired, thank you, okay? I'll get with Mike tomorrow on that and we'll get it done.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, next we have here Bush Farms. I asked Mike Bush to come in and talk to us about the properties that they own in town and the little hiccup that we had last fall, okay? And to discuss what we want to do going forward.
Would you like me to come up here or to sit?
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Where you at?
Okay. Good. Spotlight here. Yeah, we had, I don't know if it was miscommunication or misunderstanding, concerns, what have you. We did plant soybeans on our vacant lots in the neighborhood here at Shadowbrook. We did not plant on the one lot that was by itself to try to be a good neighbor. We're not looking, we want to be a good neighbor, right? We do this in about currently five subdivisions elsewhere. Belvedere, Poplar Grove, South Beloit is the current area. It's multiples in Belvedere. We had an incident, and Steve did come out, cops came out, and it blew out of proportion, harvesting the crop. So Steve and I did have a conversation here in the last couple weeks, and what we were hoping to do is we would like to go ahead and plant the crop, and we will hand pick the crop to at least abide by the rules for a harvest. And then at the end of the crop, we'll hand pick it, we'll take, a certain portion off, and then we'll go ahead and bush hog mow it down. So this way, beans are probably 2 feet, 3 feet tall, maybe out there they're not even 2 feet tall. So if we could plant them with a small tractor, the tractor's 155 horsepower. It's no different than a tractor that's going to come in on a monthly basis, roughly every 4 to 6 weeks typically, depending on the growing season, to bush hog the lots down. We'll go ahead and put a crop on it and let that crop grow to about 2-ish feet. And then we do, because again, we're trying to be a good neighbor until the lots are sold and built on and et cetera. We do come in weekly or every other week, depending on how the growth is. We manicure the right-of-way area with zero-turn lawnmowers, weed whack it, spray the curb. I think everybody has seen since we've purchased those lots that we've improved the curb area, the right-of-way area. We would like to be able to keep doing that without having an incident in the future. We're willing to adjust our operation, but we need some feedback on what you want done to satisfy everybody.
Okay. I did a little homework and I found a section in our code under vegetation, okay? And the section is 4.4-3-3 and it's called landowner rights and responsibilities. And it says this chapter shall apply equally to all landowners, including the village, which means it doesn't matter whether there's a house on it or not. This applies to every parcel of property that's in the village. And it says every landowner shall be responsible for creating and sustaining a condition of stability of the landscape on every parcel of land which he or she shall own or control, whether this is accomplished by traditional means, watering, feeding, cutting, or by the preservation or restoration and management of native plant communities. This chapter recognizes the fundamental right of every landowner to develop and manage his or her landscape in the manner of his or her choosing, insofar as it does not present a hazard to the public health and safety or the agricultural environment. I don't feel that this does any of that, okay? Every landowner who possesses lawns, it can't be longer than 8 feet, but the next one says every landowner shall be responsible for the destruction of all noxious weeds on every parcel of land which he or she shall own or control. The term destruction means the complete killing of plants and effectually preventing such plants from maturing to bloom or flowering. Soybeans are not weeds, okay? And it says, no person shall prevent plants of any sort, whether they are traditional, exotic, ornamental varieties, noxious or nuisance weeds, or forest grasses or woody plants growing on that person's property to grow into adjoining properties. So if Mr. Bush is going to maintain the perimeter of all these properties, okay, and nothing is going to be intrusive on anybody else's properties, and the equipment that he's gonna use to plant it and harvest it isn't gonna be any different than what it would be if it was vacant land that we had to call him and come and bush hog it
Okay.
4 times a year. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't use this section of our code to say, yes, you can go ahead and do it.
What was most of the neighbors' complaints? Was it
The complaint was the size of the equipment.
It was the equipment,
Okay.
the noise?
I mean, we
or-
had, no, it was more, he had a big combine come in, a full-size combine, okay?
Right, okay.
And to be perfectly honest, I mean, I had no knowledge that this was gonna happen, and we had a couple of people uproar because
Well, that's what I
we
was
had a
wondering. what
full-size
they actually-
combine on a
yeah.
residential property, it gets close to the houses, it makes noise, et cetera. So this would alleviate all that problem. Tom, you got a comment?
Well, when it first happened, I did some investigation. I called the attorney over in Belvedere and asked him how he handles it. I'm a good friend of his, and I'm a good friend. We are colleagues and have been for many, many years, and they specifically allow it in Belvedere, and did some investigation around the rest of the county, and it's not every place specifically allows it. Our code, when I first looked at our code, I looked purely at the zoning section and was a little skeptical on whether, I mean, you could do it, but generally you might need to come in and get a special use permit or something like that. I give Steve a great compliment. It didn't occur to me to look in this other section of the code, and he did find a section that can be interpreted to allow this.
Yes.
Now, it seems to me if we're not having big giant combine coming in the fall that's going down the center of a residential street, and in the spring you're having a smaller, it's larger than a mower, but a smaller unit that would be the same unit they'd come in 4 or 5 times a year to do bush hogging, but this would be only one time, then you'd have a controlled crop grown, be quiet, it'd be probably more attractive, and then whatever the hand picking amounts to is certainly less.
If I could comment, our drill that we'll use to plant, it will either be soybeans or winter wheat, okay? It's a lower crop.
Right.
It looks good, kind of, you know, wheat, I like wheat myself.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But it's 15 feet wide is our drill. A bush hog mower is 15 feet wide
Okay,
typically. There could be a 7-footer, but a batwing mower, a bush hog mower.
Bring it in on a trailer and-
So it's the same size piece of equipment, same size tractor that's gonna pull it. Our ground pressure on the tires it was brought up about, you know, maybe that could run the road. It's a fraction of what a garbage truck puts on the road. Okay, it's just, and I don't have those details exactly. I could give those to you if you want, but.
You're in and out of there when you plant in a day, in a morning?
On those, I did them myself last year, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go 2 hours, and it probably was more like an hour, you know, but, I didn't time myself, but I would say.
You're in and out of there in a couple hours, and then you're done until?
We're done, our guys here, we have an in-house maintenance crew that comes out, maintains the right-of-way, the rest of the growing season, we wait until the crop is mature, and then what we've talked about to help the concerns of large equipment for harvest, we will hand pick it, and remove a certain amount of the crop and then bush hog down, so this way all winter you don't have 2 feet of stubble sitting there, it looks just like a nice park area, so.
Okay, so I mean, if everybody agrees with me,
I have a question.
Sure.
One of the concerns that was expressed by someone when that conversation took place involved chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, things like that.
Sure.
Is that any kind of a concern that homeowners ought to have with that next to their property?
No, so we try not, on the vacant lots, we try not to spray those if we don't have to, just because at the end of the year, we're gonna cut it down at ground level anyways. We don't harvest this crop to profit. We harvest it for tax purposes on these lots, because we are landholders, we're farmers as well, but we are landowners, owners and holders, and we don't know if we're gonna hold these lots for 5 months or 5 years. These subdivisions were all built decades ago. And I don't know this particular subdivision, how long it's been, but I know the builders, I used to do landscape construction. We hold lots that have been around for like 20+ years. So what we do is, instead of getting taxed on like a residential lot, if we perform an ag practices, then we can get a tax break on our taxes, so this way we can hold them. We don't want to hold them any longer than we have to, but if the demand isn't there, the demand's not there. On the flip side too, it's good for the neighborhood that every month we're not bush hogging those lots. I used to do it personally years ago as a younger guy. I had my team, we had a landscape construction company, 40-some people. We would go out every month to the large home builders and bush hog 1,000 lots per month that were just sitting there. And it was always a concern. You're bush hogging the lots and a rock blows, and we had one years ago, up in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It went through the sidewall of a house. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather just keep it low key, put a crop on it, and one time a year we'll just, if we're not bush hogging vacant lots and we're bush hogging a crop, we just leave it up a little bit. You don't have to worry about hitting those rocks. So.
Okay.
And if we used our bean head last year, which we did,
Yeah.
I probably picked up all those rocks already anyways.
Okay.
I think maybe it was just because people were shocked by it or something,
Yeah,
because,
I'm sure.
I mean.
It never happened here before.
Well, by my house, I'm used to it, because
Okay.
it goes all behind my house, and then when I had the other house.
So then, what I want to do, just so you all know, I don't think we need to take any formal action, because it's already in the code, but I think this code allows for this to be done. Anybody, you got anything?
What did you say, Matt?
Well, it seems like you're going against the residents. They don't want this at all.
That's not, they can't
No,
say
that's
that.
not- That's not what's been said. The
But
problem
they were
was with the
concerned
big
about this-
equipment, possible spraying of chemicals. That was the worry that I heard from everything and everybody. It has
Before.
nothing to do with the fact that they're
We got a
gonna do
code here that
what
says
they
he
need to
can
do.
plant what he wants to
maintain.
plant,
Accommodating
basically.
some of the concerns by coming in with much smaller equipment
Okay.
and
And
doing
doing
a
it
much
by hand
quieter
as much as he
operation.
Nothing more than they would do
As
to
opposed to a
maintain
big
it.
combine going down the center.
That was the biggest issue, was the piece of
I
equipment.
just have one question. There's nothing in there, no hidden things, but would you move into a subdivision where this is happening?
I used to live in Farmers and Fields, and I did it in that area, so.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay, all right, so in our opinion, you can do what we agreed for you to do without any, I don't think there's anything formal that we have to do on our part, so.
And I'm willing to give notice. I mean, we don't want any surprises.
That would be the only
I understand
thing,
that this
yeah.
was a surprise last year, and now that we're aware of that, I
Let
have
us
no
know.
problem. I mean, I've never had a problem
Okay.
in almost 18 years of doing this.
Yeah, I
I've
didn't know.
never-
Probably a surprise to the people, because it
Yeah.
hasn't.
It would be a good
happened
idea to
before.
let us know so we can let people know.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do so. That's fine.
Yeah, but really, I went over this with our attorney, and the way this is kind of written, you gotta get into a definition of what is exotic and traditional and ornamental and all that, and I don't wanna waste my time, effort, or money on that.
There's certainly an
So,
argument to say that it's covered by the code.
yeah, it's covered by code, so have at it.
We're willing to work with everybody. So, if there's a concern, let me try to figure out how we can alleviate that concern.
Well, I think that knowing when you're gonna be in the fields might help, because if
Yeah,
people are
just let
gonna
us know
sit
when
and do
you're coming.
laundry or.
That way I can be there
Yeah. he
in
can
case something does
Run
happen.
interference.
okay?
I don't believe, nobody even knew I was there, or maybe they did.
Yeah, I
There was no
didn't
concern when I
know. Yeah,
planted
it's
it, right?
just
You
when
know,
you
so-
showed up, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we do it this way for the harvest side of it, I don't
think
think there's
we'll be
gonna be
fine.
any issues at all.
Okay.
Yeah, when he's not bringing the big equipment in,
Right.
the people aren't even gonna notice.
Right.
No.
90%.
I don't even hardly notice it in my backyard anymore.
It's-
I mean, I've
You see,
20
you see a
years,
residential area and you see a combine driving down, you go, what the? You know, especially in a closed
Yeah.
area, in a closed neighborhood like that.
President Bank has his cell phone number, probably, I mean, I have your number, your dad's number, your lawyer's number, because
Yeah.
every time.
We got your number.
And you've got mine, so.
Yes, yeah.
If you need to talk to me.
We're not here to be a
You
problem.
can go
Okay?
straight to-
You know, that's, I tell that right now.
And I don't want to create one where there isn't one, okay?
I appreciate
Well,
that.
we
Okay.
appreciate your coming in and
Yeah.
explaining
Yep.
it to everybody.
Yep,
Okay.
no, and if we have to change something, we will change something again, but I don't see why we should have to.
Nah, I don't
One
think
final
so.
point,
Yes.
just give you an opportunity to make. One of the concerns that residents had was that the combine created a great deal of dust.
That's why I was asking what
And
the complaint was
are we
before.
correct that the process that you're going to be using this time will mitigate the amount of dust that it produces?
Yeah, and I actually think the beans are pretty green, so I don't think we had that much dust, but, if we harvest it by hand, and then we come in with a mower, a bush hog mower is gonna provide, or make as much, whatever the dust is in the ground, you know, if it's really dry out or if it's wet, so.
And if he notifies us too,
Yeah.
like I said, if
Right.
people are gonna have, you know, something in their yard or windows open, laundry, this way they have notification
They can
that,
plan ahead.
hey, you might plan ahead, this day is
But
gonna be.
if he came out here 5 times a year to bush hog, he's gonna create dust
Right,
every time he
yes.
comes
So
out.
it seems like, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like all of the concerns that residents had expressed have been addressed.
Addressed.
I believe so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And I have no problems giving notice prior, you know, I mean,
Okay.
we're not looking for a problem.
Me either.
So,
No, I'm trying to just make everybody happy.
All
correct.
right, thanks a lot, Mike.
Okay,
Okay.
Is there anything else that-
All right.
I can answer?
I think we got it.
I'm gonna leave then, if that's okay.
Okay, oh, that's fine, yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
Take care, bud.
Have a good night.
Next, I've got infrastructure with Ian Spears, and what I wanted Ian to do. A lot of times I come in and I talk about things that I want to do, and the first comments I get are, well, we have infrastructure issues we have to take care of. Well, Ian's the expert on our infrastructure, okay? And I wanted him to come in and explain exactly where we're at with our infrastructure, what our priorities with our infrastructure are, and what our plans are to do about it. So, you got the floor.
Basically, the village as a whole is in much better shape now than it was 6 years ago when we started here. Through tests and working with the village, we've made vast improvements at the plants and the well houses. We've made some improvements in the distribution system, which would be your sanitary sewer and your water mains. We have plans to work on those as well. To say you guys don't have zero issues with your infrastructure, no town with this age is like that, but it's in better shape than most. You know, since we've started, there's still a number of main breaks a year, but they're in spots where we're gonna have that main replaced, and we have plans to have that replaced. But as a whole, the village is in a pretty good shape infrastructure-wise, sewer main-wise. We're doing work with things to make all of that better. However, all of that takes money, and we're trying to, you know, not just, for lack of better words, spend it all in a year. It's not any kind of an emergency. Granted, anything could happen, but in the overall sense of the condition of everything in the village, it has improved over the last handful of years, and we keep moving forward on improvements, and everything is looking good. So, if you guys have any specific questions about any particular part in the infrastructure?
Actually, I do. Is there enough pressure to get to all the hydrants right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The two priorities that we're concentrating on right now are the 173 water main, which I've explained is kind of on hold until IDOT finishes their deal.
Yeah, and we would be foolish to do anything until IDOT comes. It'd be an utter waste of money if we, you know, because we'll have to put the road back the way it is, and then they're
Right.
gonna come through and tear it up,
Yeah.
where if we can work together on it, and I think it wouldn't be an issue to wait until then, until they come through, so we can work together on that, because then we also don't have the expense of repairing the road at that time, so.
But I think the one corner we're all,
Well, that we're gonna
We
take
can
care of, and
set
that's not a water main, that's
No.
a storm drain.
Right.
And that's our responsibility, so we're gonna have to fix it. And that's, we just wanna wait for all this weather to go away.
right.
The other priority is the stormwater intrusion in our wastewater system. Every time we get a heavy rain, the lagoon fills up because we have to cut the flow of the amount of water that's going through the sewer plant because the pumps are winding, okay? And then all that rainwater gets mixed with sewage, and now it's gotta go back and get treated through the plant, and it
More
ruins our
chemicals.
biologics, and it shortens the lifespan of our equipment and everything else. So, this has been basically it's gonna be a 4-year project. Last year, we replaced all the manhole covers. This year, starting at the end of the month, we have a project, we have a company called Tim Construction coming in, and they're gonna rebuild 38 manholes. Now, I talked to Ian about that, and I said, I hope that solves the problem. And he mentioned that, I think it was Poplar
In Poplar
Grove.
Grove, we
And, like-
in Bel Air Estates, we did this same had an issue with infiltration and fixed all the manholes, and it cut the lift station run times in half.
Wow, that's good.
So
we
that
made
we're
it
gonna do.
beneficial.
Yeah, and all we did was.
That's in the works, we already got it.
Yeah, and we thought it was the same problem over there where people had their sub pumps hooked up to the sanitary. You know, so we cameraed everything and we found all the intrusion through the manhole structures themselves. And once they sealed up, we, haven't had an issue over there since.
And next spring, we're gonna do the camera.
Okay,
Okay, and then we're gonna have them basically give us a map of our wastewater system and prioritize where we need to fix what first. We don't know at this point, okay? So it's kinda like, to me, like working on a car. It doesn't start, so you're gonna change the battery, the starter, the ignition, and everything else all at one time. And yeah, now it's gonna start, but you have no idea what was wrong with it in the first place, because you fixed everything. So what you try to do is start with the cheapest thing first, which was the manhole covers, and next is the manholes, then we'll go through the underground system and see.
And
what
we'll
we
get a
can find.
better idea too, once they camera everything, we'll have a good idea on where to start, because there might be a section of sewer main that we think is the worst, and it might be the best, but we won't know until we actually see what we're dealing with. And that'd be,
Yeah.
we're talking about scheduling that next spring.
Yep, remember we did the smoke test too? that-
Yes.
So,
Yep.
we're in the process of getting all this done, okay? It's just that, we can take a bite out of this and a bite out of that and a bite out of something else at the same time and kind of bring everything up at the same time instead of just working on one side of the aisle at a time. I just think this is the way to do it, and that's why I've been pushing for some more civic improvements to go along with the money that we're spending on our infrastructure.
and then that will also help them when they do 173, because isn't that part of the problem? They don't know where for the water flow to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's from the storm sewers, yeah,
So,
yeah,
and if you're
yeah, so, I mean, they're,
The storm-
cameraing everything, I would think that would,
Yeah, and the storm and the sanitary are two different systems.
okay.
Yeah.
The storm sewer, you guys don't have a lot, you don't have as much of it as the sanitary. The sanitary runs down basically every street, because every
Okay.
house is hooked up to the sanitary.
the storm sewers are basically downtown here,
Yeah.
basically, okay?
And on 173, or Wooster down
Yeah.
there.
So, yeah, so I just wanted Ian to come in and give you guys a snapshot of exactly where we're at here, so I can kind of alleviate some of
And
these
if you guys
arguments.
have any questions, you can always call me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, without question, I got no problem answering any questions or, explaining anything, or if you have, don't understand something and you want more explanation, we can do that. That's not a problem at all.
I appreciate it, and thank you for coming, appreciate it.
problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Anything else?
Anything else? Anybody got any?
I don't.
Okay. Next is our
Thank you.
FY '27 budget, which starts May 1st.
Appreciate it.
So
Yep.
we need to approve this in 2 weeks. So I want to go over some highlights with you guys, if you don't mind, okay? Revenue-wise, I really didn't change anything, using the same revenue estimate that I had from 2026 because nothing really changed much, so we're gonna leave that like it is. So basically, our total, but the only thing I added in was the 2% increase for water and sewer rates. So the total revenue for water and sewer went up a little bit, went up 2%, okay? So total revenue, we got $1.336 million, okay? On the administrative side, I left everything pretty much the same. I made some minor adjustments, inter account, if you will, on administrative and public works. What I did is I budgeted in a 3% increase for both our employees, all right? And that includes where it says Social Security, Medicare, 457B, employee medical and all that. The rest of the numbers all the way up and down, Public Works and administrative are pretty much based on what we spent for the first 10 months of this year. Everything seemed to be online. What I added under Public Works is I added an amount $50,000 for sidewalks, okay? I got a quote, and we'll go through it when I get a little bit further down the list, and I'll go over what we plan to do with sidewalks this year, okay? So there's an extra $50,000 in there. Non-departmental, nobody's getting any raises, so that's the same as it was last year. So our net revenue over expenses, or our surplus, if you will, on the administrative side is $141,464.00. Under motor fuel tax, we're going to spend $200,000 to pave the roads that we approved, and that's $135,300 over expense, but we're using what's in the motor fuel account to pay for it, because that's all we can use it for. So that's what it'll show. So under water expenses, I made some adjustments, and that's coming in at $333,600. Under wastewater, if you notice the first line, I added $130,000 task order 4. That's wastewater capital improvement. That's the 38 manholes that we're having replaced. The actual quote was for $119,000 that we approved, but I put it at $130 just to be safe, okay? And then $100,000 for other maintenance equipment. So total wastewater expense will be $674,000. So with the 2% increase that we passed, we actually will have a net revenue over expenses, or a surplus of $12,840, okay? And that'll keep the USDA and our accounting firm happy. So overall, we should end up with an actual surplus of $19,504, and that takes into account the $335 that was over on the MFT funds. So overall, if you don't count the MFT funds, we actually have a larger budget surplus than we actually do. Okay, so you got a copy of that. And we'll approve this next month so we can have it ready for the first of our fiscal year, okay? Next is our annual engagement letter for our auditors, okay? If you remember, they come in every year with their suitcases, their briefcases and their computers, and they go through everything we did the year before to make sure that I'm not going to jail for anything, okay? Basically what they're doing is they're raising their fees like by $10 an hour. Okay.
No, that's the other one. This is $1,000 for this one. It's up to $1,000.
Oh, that's right, this was up to,
It won't
that's
exceed
right.
$1,000.
Never mind. What this is it's about $1,000 increase than it was last year. And I think we actually came in under budget with them last year, so we'll probably come in under budget this year too. Every year that they do this with us, it gets easier for them to do it, because we know what they're looking for, they know where to find it, etc. So it tends to go a little smoother every time, okay? All right, next on here is the resolution for the water rate increase. We talked about it. It's gonna be a 2% rate increase, so that the first 2,000 gallons will change from $9.28 to $9.47. Per 1,000 gallons will go from $6.25 to $6.38. Sewer rates will go from $27.72 to $23.17 per 1,000. And the USDA flat loan rate will go from $31.19 to $31.81. And that ends up giving us the $12,000 surplus on the water side, which is what we have to have.
And that starts May 1st.
Okay, so that'll be for 2 weeks from now. Next on here is the sidewalks, okay? There's a map for the sidewalks here, and originally I had mapped out both sides of 6th Street between the alley and Ogden, and the one side of 5th Street between the alley and Ogden, but the quote came in at $83,000. Concrete is expensive, and we also have to run sidewalks across the driveways, because it should have been done a long time ago. So that's an extra expense for tearing up the old driveways and repairing everything and putting in the new sidewalks. So I decided that was a bit much. So I asked them to re-quote it, and just doing 6th Street is gonna come in at 66,780. So, that'll be both sides of 6th Street from the alley to Ogden. And then next year, we'll budget another bunch of money and we'll work on some other sidewalks. But like I said, I don't want to do everything all at once on one item. We have other things that I would like to do, okay? Next is the purchase of picnic tables. As you know, it's starting our season. We're going to have Food Truck Fridays, the third Friday of every month. And I thought it would be a good idea to get some picnic tables to put over on our green space behind the pump house, okay? And I looked around and I got a couple of them. The first page, these are from Uline, which is a pretty big company with, they do a lot of packing supplies and commercial stuff. So these are 6-foot wooden A-frame picnic tables. They're $219 a piece. They're pressure treated. Rust-resistant hardware, deluxe wooden picnic tables, no splintering, rough edges. You can paint them if you want to.
If we're going to do picnic tables, can we also look into garbage cans as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to have picnic tables.
Yeah,
but I carve-
you guarantee there's going to be
Yeah,
trash.
no. Okay, and then on the second page, this is a company called Barco, okay? And they've got wooden picnic tables, but they've got them with steel frames, okay? And they've got 10-year warranties on them. And they're $605 a piece. The difference is they weigh a lot. They're 283 to 300 pounds, where the other ones are 180 to 220, or 180 pounds. So they're twice as heavy. And what I concern myself with it is when they get legs. I know all tables have legs, but these legs will walk,
Yeah.
okay? So I'm giving you this as an option to determine, what kind of
Are they
picnic
gonna
tables
be
we
out
want to
there
get.
all year? Are we leaving them there year round?
Yeah, I think we're gonna leave them out there year round. I don't see any reason why we can't.
Right.
They're treated lumber, okay? And once we get them and we get them put in, I'll try to figure out something that we can anchor them to the ground with, maybe, like get some corkscrews and put them in the ground or whatever. But I just think I'd like to get 3 of them, okay? And put them in the front half of that village square over
We have a
there.
question.
I know you quoted 6-foot tables. A lot of picnic areas that I've been to, 8-foot tables are more accommodating for
Okay,
bigger groups, especially if you got, kids out or whatever.
It looks like this one
If
has
there's not
6
much of a
or 8
difference
foot
in the-
on your quote.
Between a 6-foot and an 8-foot, I think that would be a much better,
okay. Just so you know, the 8-foots are $369 versus $219. So we're gonna pay $150 more for 2 feet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
do they
money.
weigh more so they won't walk away?
Well, then-
No, that's just it. They weigh 226. They weigh 46 more pounds. They're 2 feet longer and they cost $150 more. So that's a lot of money. Okay? Okay, so I'm giving you that because I kind of like to do that if you don't mind, okay? Now we've got the Capron PTO donation. We've been doing this every year and they came back again and they're doing this a little different this time. They actually want us to, I think they want to, they're calling it a sponsor. Everybody wants to be a sponsor now, okay? So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, they got 5 different levels of sponsors, starting at $250 and going all the way down to the donation of a gift card. I'm assuming for $25, so. And then a basket sponsor, a donation of a basket of items to be auctioned off, okay?
What did we donate last year?
Well, I think we donated like 25 or $50.
$50.
50 bucks?
Yes, 50.
Yeah, okay. So, now to be a bronze sponsor, they want $100. So, it's inflation, okay? So anyways, look this over. This is what we're gonna talk about next, at the next meeting, okay? And with all of that, I am done, okay? So I'm gonna turn this over to Let's see, trustee McMahon is not here, so trustee Hirsch, you got it.
That means we get to talk about doing a yearly celebration for Capron. Do we want to do one?
I hear a lot of people say that they would love to have bands again,
Yeah.
and like we did for the anniversary, people are really excited.
There's been a lot of interest in doing something on an annual basis. I even talked about it a bit. I was calling it Capron Safety Days, but, you know, we can call it whatever we want to, and I just think, you know, we've got a little extra money in the budget, and if we spend $1,500, $2,000 on something, I don't see anything we can't do it. We could do it in conjunction with a food truck Friday that weekend, so we'd have the food trucks here, and we'd have a band, and
Well, if you look at your
you know,
packets,
get jump houses, and
I have printouts for everybody in their packets. I've done a lot of research. The idea that I have bounced off of the Capron Lions Club and Steve and everybody, and they've printed, is July 17th and 18th. 17th would be Food Truck Friday, regular Food Truck Friday. But adding on a live band by the Food Truck Friday. So we're thinking we would block off 4th Street so that there would be no traffic. You know, like we usually have traffic for Food Truck Friday, and we let people go through for Food Truck Friday. But instead of doing that this time, we would stop traffic for Food Truck Friday that Friday. And we would flop the food trucks this time. So we would put the food trucks on this side, turn them around, have the band, have the food trucks, maybe have some vintage cars parked here, and just keep it mainly on 4th Street, safety-wise.
you know, that vacant lot does not belong to the village.
And I have emailed the owner, and I am in discussions with him.
Okay.
I will take care of that, no problem. He did say last year if we needed to use his property, all I would have to do is reach out to him
Okay.
and have conversations with him. So check on that one
And
already.
I know they have worked with Stumble In before for
Yes.
some birthday parties.
Yes, yes, he's a nice guy, he
If
really
he's-
is.
If he's
Yep.
willing to do it,
There is a couple of lineups for vintage cars already. We got a handful of those. We got a handful of trucks that are interested already for for Friday for that one. I still need ideas for live bands for that Friday.
I personally think the band that we had for the sesquicentennial was absolutely
Yeah, they
fantastic.
were very good.
What was the name of that
They
band?
were relatives or something of Rachel.
I don't know,
Are they?
but we can find out who it is and get, I
If
think.
somebody can get me the info for that
Rachel should
band,
have
that
it.
would
I
be
think
great.
she-
I mean, even Barb was dancing.
Yes, it was fun. So that's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Food Truck Friday on Friday. I'd like to maybe get some banners, because we'd like to do this every year. Repeat it every year, get everybody together every year and do a Capron Days,
I think we should have a couple of years
Yeah.
before we decide on bands, though.
you know, like
In case it
Capron,
doesn't turn out.
yeah, you know,
God forbid.
or Capron Fair, however people want to
Well,
call
Paper
it.
Day sounded good that you said. I thought
Yeah.
that sounded nice.
DAZE.
Yeah,
Okay.
funky, you know, make it different.
Stumbling in, so we're in the days.
So then you have Saturday, which takes us over to the Lions Club. And I have some ideas for the inflatables. The main one that I really like, after doing a lot of research, and I mean, there's many inflatable companies that you can go through, you can look through, all the prices are relatively the same, they all work the same. But the main company that I have looked into, and we got a quote, we've printed out the information, is the Golden Event Rental. They have a tropical bounce house, is $180. The blower is included in the price. They have a single slide bounce house, double slide bounce house. They have this big, huge obstacle course. They offer tents, big tents, little tents, seating, everything. This place has everything, and they are local here in Capron. So it keeps our Community, yes,
Yeah.
and that's another thing, is
That's right.
keeping it knit together.
Okay.
So that's why I really, really wanted to tell you guys about
So
Golden
you wanna
Event.
get like all 4 of these bouncy houses?
I would like to hire Golden Event Rental, to do the bounce houses.
Yeah, but how many?
All the ones that
All
they
of them.
pitch them if we
That's what I'm
can,
asking.
yeah. And that's 1,025, just for all those bounce houses. Now we gotta talk about tents and all that stuff, all those minutia and all that.
Now, the bounce houses we're gonna have at the Lions Club?
Yes.
Okay, so we got the pavilion.
Yes.
Do we need a tent?
Do we need a tent? I'm not sure.
Depends on how you want to lay them out.
I don't wanna lay anybody out. I wanna have a good time.
Well, we were discussing the layout, and that sounded really great, the way you had it laid out on the phone. I really liked the way that we had it all figured out on the phone the other
And
day.
you're thinking of having the bands in at the Lions?
Oh, yes,
again?
Sunday night,
So
or
that
Saturday
in case
night.
there's a storm or something.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
then we can have if you don't mind, we can have the band inside.
Right, right.
That's what we had for the
And
Sesame.
that worked good, because that night was a downpour.
Well, not only that,
Yes.
but there are going to be people who are
Handicapped.
older, go to bed early, whatever, and you got a band playing, that's not gonna go over real well, so
Right.
I'd like to have it on the inside if possible.
Right. So the bounce houses, give or take 1,200. Flags, give or take 100 to 500. So if we asked for a budget between 2,000 and 3,000
Okay?
for this event, I don't think that would be overestimating. We're definitely gonna have extra money.
Okay, that's good.
I still gotta contact LRS because I wanna see if maybe we can look at, porta potties for
Yeah.
Food Truck Friday that day, because I do not wanna stress out Stumble Hill and
Yeah.
Rosa's and all them with that event. So
We
there's
should have
still,
those for every food truck.
I do like that idea. I
Okay.
really do. But,
I think if you get a male and a female, one each, for Food Truck Friday, I think that would be a good idea.
I'd like some banners for Food Truck Friday if we're gonna keep doing this every year. I've got
See why
pricing
not.
for that. If we buy our banners in bulk, we will save money.
Okay.
So if we're gonna get banners for our Capron days, we should get banners for Food Truck Friday at the same time, so we can save on
We should get
shipping.
them for a turkey drive, we should get them.
All the above,
Okay?
all the above. Flags and
I know we
signs.
have the message board too, but
That looks beautiful.
you like it? Yeah, that works.
But that is all I've got. Capron
Okay. You got
Days,
anything?
July
I
17.
don't have anything at this time.
Sound like a good idea? I
Yeah,
think
it
it
sounds
sounds like
good
a
to
good
me.
idea
Oh,
too.
Food Truck Friday. We got 4 trucks.
Yeah, right.
We've got Rusty Drum, we've got Soda Squeezed, we've got Sizzlin' Susie, and we've got our regular taco guy coming on Friday, so you guys have got to come.
What, do you want to say that?
Do you already have volunteers lined up for these Capron Days?
This is all coming
I'm just
together,
saying,
so
'cause
I
that will
need
make or break an
volunteers.
Event if you do or don't have
We
volunteers.
need volunteers.
No, she's got, we'll get her.
We're gonna
Yeah.
need participation,
I just know that.
All of it.
breaks
Well,
it.
I know, yeah.
and that'll bring the community together too, is participating together and working together,
I just, I mean.
And I'd like to get a dunk tank, because I say,
We're volunteering.
we want a dunk tank this
I know you
year.
are. Duck tank? I know.
Yes!
I know, thank you.
Voluntold.
With you probably throw ice in it.
Dunk the President 2026.
Okay, anything else?
Stocking up on ice.
We got anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. Oh,
Glenn, right?
or did you have a report?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Glenn, you got anything? No, I do not. Okay, motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, thank you.